Hot Wheels was my life when I was a kid. Over the years of my childhood, my die-cast collection went from the dozens to the hundreds. So naturally, a Hot Wheels game for the PC was a match made in heaven for my younger self. And as an added bonus, it even came with its own unique die-cast. A Sweet 16 Model 2 with its own unique livery. I still have it today. I still have all my die-casts, the ones that didn't get lost. Hot Wheels Mechanix was, well, not exactly a great game, but it was endearing for what it was. The cars are mostly very faithful adaptations of real die-casts, except when they're not. More on that later. You get 6 starter cars, all with 100 horsepower, and can unlock more as you play. Much like you can unlock all these upgrades. Some are pretty handy, but others are only really necessary if you're speedrunning, something this game definitely seems like it was built around. Pick a track, pick a car, pick your upgrades if you want or can, and you're on your way. Every level starts with an introductory flyby like this, showing you the track, some of the general locations and obstacles, the locations of which depend on whether you skip the flyby or not, which means the train you see here is going to be going in a different direction and be in a different spot depending on when you start the race. Collecting 100 X tools on a track earns you a 200 horsepower car, which is usually a random generic model not inspired by any particular diecast, but tied to the theme of the track, mostly. And first place wins you a 300 horsepower car. So why would you ever want the 200 horsepower ones? And here is the game. The HUD will show you what position you're in, lap you're on, lap time, best time, how many X tools you've collected, what power up you recently got, speed, power, and how many checkpoints you missed. Silver boxes are worth 5 X tools, gold ones are worth 10 but are generally out of the way, and the blue ones are at every checkpoint and award you with either power-ups, unlock different liveries for your car, or if there's nothing left to unlock, turbo boost. The green arrow at the top shows the general direction to the next checkpoint, but it tends to throw a bit of a hissy fit if you go off the beaten path. We're just gonna turn that off. There we go, that's better. It's worth noting the game actually supports steering wheel controllers, but you can get by with just the keyboard. I do wish you could rebind the buttons away from the arrow keys, but that wouldn't solve all the problems, especially a lack of handbrake. Slow down, stop! Damn it! Actually, the braking can be a sticking point because of how long it takes to actually shift into reverse, which you can't do until you come to a full and complete stop. And since there's no way to reset your car yourself, if you get stuck, you either have to drive yourself out or just restart the race. Not that the AI drivers are enough of a threat to justify doing that. Looks like I'm doing a pretty shitty job here, especially when I fail to wall ride past the train, but there are plenty of ways you can turn the odds back in your favor. Yeah, nice hitboxes by the way. There are shortcuts everywhere on these tracks, some obvious to the point they have X tools hidden in them, like this train tunnel. Some they probably weren't counting on you doing, but you can do them anyway, and there's nothing to stop you. And other times you can cut corners by jumping. Yeah, your car can jump in this game, and it can glide if you install wings. All this is to say, this game is less of a racer, and more of a vehicular parkour platformer. Awesome. It's worth saying, this game came out in 2000, years before Distance or Nitronic Rush. So when I say the key to winning is to outmaneuver your opponents, I mean it in more ways than one. You're not cutting corners anymore so much as you are lopping off entire fucking sections of the track. All that on top of the power-ups you can get, which are automatically installed onto your car when you unlock them, mind you, and your car getting faster with every checkpoint, until you hit max power, and you have more freedom over your route than a cross-country event in Forza Horizon. What's not to love? Well, maybe the fact that it's a pain in the ass to try to get running on modern hardware. I've been wanting to make a video on this game for a long time, but I never had the means to do it. I can get the game to run on my laptop just fine, but recording it? Oh no. Not even OBS could save me there, because the only way to capture the footage seems to be to capture my entire desktop. But the laptop isn't powerful enough for that. So what I get is a glitchy, unwatchable slideshow. This is where my man Splattered came in. If not for him, this video wouldn't even have been made, I don't think. Oh sure, you can always install Virtual Machine and record it that way, but that comes with some of its own headaches, like some of the graphical glitches you can encounter.
Wait, what the hell is going on?
He found a way to get the software version of the game running, but then you're missing out on all this eye candy. There's no lighting, There's no particle effects, and the render distance is atrocious. It's not that great to begin with, but at least in the hardware version, you have fog to hide it with. The software version has nothing. Instead, you're racing on the edge of reality. But he did find some cool stuff while he was poking around the software version. I'll show some of that now, including what awaited anyone trying to climb that volcano in Tiki Jungle. Or if you set the FOV to yes! Also, word to the wise, don't bother trying to play this game beyond 60 frames per second. The frame rate isn't capped, but the car's handled like shit, and things get really wonky and really glitchy at a refresh rate of 144 Hz. It'll frequently hang up, but your car won't get the memo that the game is frozen. It'll just keep on going without you, in whatever direction it happened to be going before the hang. I actually clipped out of the world doing that. Luckily, capping my monitor's refresh rate to 60 Hz fixed most of that. Alright, I think we've seen enough of Urban Wasteland, but I will say that those oil derricks you see, you can wreck by running into them, so don't run into them. On to Tiki Jungle. On top of the Dune buggy not being based on any Hot Wheels car that I can discern, the Sweet 16 doesn't even match the livery of the car you get with the game. I feel like that's a bit of a missed opportunity. It's also kind of arbitrary that in this submerged section, the water on the road itself won't kill your car, but the submerged areas with a rocky bottom will, even though they're the exact same depth. So the rocky bottom water might as well be lava. So there are more new hazards on this stage, but let me tell you, the AI drivers are not going to be one of them. Oh look, they're all still stuck in 100 horsepower cars. That's right, the AI are limited to the same selection of cars as you. They can only take the cars that you have unlocked. And I have the only 300 horsepower car. And no, it doesn't get any better. The AI car selection is completely random. So it doesn't even matter that I just drove into the magma like a dumbass. I have a 20-mile-an-hour speed advantage over them, even at minimum power, with no engine upgrades. They pose absolutely no threat to me, and as my car gets upgraded just by running through the checkpoints, it's only going to get worse for them. To add insult to injury, I just got pontoon tires for the car, so instead of slowing me down like it normally does, I can just drive through the shallow water like it's nothing. I'm so far ahead of these guys, and so overpowered compared to them, that I even have time to stop, turn around, and go get some X-Tools that I missed. And I'll still handily take back first place from them. It's easy to say, well of course they're getting their asses handed to them. Your car's a beast compared to theirs. What, you think having a 100 horsepower car is going to make any difference? Let's talk about the AI for a minute. The AI in this game is nothing special. It's about what you would expect from a bog standard racing game. They follow the route, go through the checkpoints, and generally do a decent job of it. Well, most of the time. But the thing is, that's all they can do. Full throttle and turning, nothing else. They can't intelligently dodge obstacles, they can't reverse, they can't even brake. The demo kind of oversells their competence a little bit, at least at first glance. If you wait long enough, it's only a matter of time before they get stuck behind an obstacle and get hopelessly trapped. Because all they can think to do is just keep on accelerating and hope the obstacle just moves out of the way. Sometimes it does, most of the time not. And you know what? I think the developers knew this, because if the AI gets stuck somewhere for too long or off the track for too long a time, they automatically respawn. That doesn't even happen to the player unless they get knocked out. Maybe playing at 60 frames per second makes them worse at navigating, because I had a lot of instances of the AI just driving right off the course for no apparent reason. But believe me, even back in the day, they need all the help they can get. They copy your engine and wing upgrades, but their tire and car selection is completely random. Even though there is a distinct gameplay benefit to each set of tires you can unlock, off-road tires remove the speed penalty from driving through oil, cement, or any other rough terrain. Pontoon tires eliminate the water movement penalty, and you would think spikes would help you knock out the other drivers. But no, they give you full traction on ice in Pluto mines. Knocking out the other drivers seems to be completely random. I don't know how or why it happens. Alright, time to chill. After I point out the fact that the so-called Shadow Cat here, it's actually the Shadow Jet 2, isn't supposed to have its wheels sticking out like that. That defeats the whole point of the model. I know why they did it though, so you can see what tires you have equipped. What I find weird is this is the only car in the game that's 200 horsepower and definitely based on an actual model. Not that it really matters, because once you have your first 300 horsepower car, all else is kinda moot. There's no need to pick anything else. unless you're just trying to make things a little harder for yourself. I did go back to Tiki Jungle and did a race in a 100 horsepower car, but by virtue of cutting corners, ignoring the intended route, and equipping pontoon tires, it was still trivial. Pluto Mines is also a pretty interesting track because, as much as you can follow the road, go through the tunnel, and follow the course as it's intended, there's nothing stopping you from just going through the first checkpoint, backing up, going up the ramp, and then hitting the next checkpoint up there. There's no checkpoint inside the tunnel itself to prevent you from doing that. But what I also find hilarious is the fact that there's a couple gold X tools on top of this rock formation, because that signifies that the developers were expecting you to find ways to break free of the confines of the track itself. Honestly, the fact this game gives you so much freedom is part of why I respect it so much. Once you unlock at least one car from every racetrack, the next 3 are unlocked. Except this time, you need to do 8 laps around each one. That may sound like a lot, but these courses are short. You can clear a lap in 30 seconds, if that, on each of these courses. I really get the feeling that they just didn't have the budget or the resources that they would have liked when they were developing this game, because these courses are really short, and there's plenty of potential that they just don't really live up to. There's some decent variety, more than can really be expected in modern AAA games, but you can clear the whole game in under an hour. I'm talking 45 minutes or less. Hell, the world record speedrun managed to beat the game in 23 minutes. 27 without, shortcuts. However you define a shortcut in this case. Not that it's a very competitive category, since this is the only guy who runs it. So the gameplay isn't exactly revolutionary, even though it does have some potential. The racetracks have some decent variety and personality, even if there isn't a lot to them. And the music... God, this game actually has some pretty solid music for what it is. In fact, you're hearing one of those songs right now. Only problem, it's all bit crushed to hell and back. Not to mention, there's no credits listed for the music or the composers. That's because the developers, short on budget, time, or willpower, opted for a bunch of royalty-free music, most of which can be found on a service called Sound Ideas. It also means there's no good way to get this music without paying an exorbitant price tag. You get a lot of bang for your buck, but to my knowledge, there's no way to individually purchase these songs. The only thing I can really think to do would be to scour around the internet and hope I get lucky, contact the composers, or in some cases, have someone try to recompose or remix them. In the spirit of the music being royalty-free, I opted to use some of Kevin MacLeod's music to fill in the gaps as best as I can. I'll leave the credits for those in the description. I really wouldn't mind having some of this music myself, but as luck would have it, Splattered came in clutch again and managed to track a few of the songs down, some of which I've been playing in the video itself. Here's a couple comparisons of what it sounds like in the game versus what it's supposed to sound like. We got gypped on this soundtrack. There was plenty of room on the disc. They didn't need to compress the music so hard, but I guess they didn't have time to think about that. Everyone dies! I actually meant to say more about some of these tracks, but really, what you see is what you get. Beach Wave was one of my favorites as a kid, and I always found it funny that gently tapping a bus is all it takes to wreck you. But other than that, it's about what you would expect. If there's enough interest, I might make a separate video from this one, which will be a full, pretty much unedited, and live commentated playthrough of this game. That way I can give you the full tour. In any case, it's time to move on to Moonbase. And boy do I have a treat for you here. Let's take a listen to what the soundtrack for this stage is. Holy shit. Now that is good stuff. I very, very desperately want the full quality rendition of that song. Splattered wasn't able to find it, but he was able to give us this. Wait, it gets better. Don't mind my silence. I know you like the sound of me talking, but I gotta yield the floor to this for a little while. it kicks ass! There's gonna be a rave in space, baby! Alright. I'll get back to the video. It's not a remaster like I was hoping for, but this is the next best thing. And I do mean the next best thing. And this is actually one of the more fun tracks in the game because you have low gravity and plenty opportunity to take advantage of it. Especially if you have wings, which you can use to skip entire portions of the track, or just jump straight over the base itself. If you get lost on the lunar surface, you can find a ramp to get you back onto the track. And it's in your best interest anyway, because there's a couple gold X-tools hiding down there. Up the ramp through the one-way force field and you're back on track, which I did frequently in my youth because I was not very good at this game, and sometimes the physics would bug out and I'd miss the big jump. Weirdly, this is the only level where you don't need any special tires for your car. If we ever colonize the moon, I wonder if this is what it'll look like. I mean, I sure hope this is what it sounds like music-wise. Though I have to say, the track design isn't the most efficient I've seen. Back at the main hub of the base, there's a big 270-degree turn that serves no discernible purpose other than to hide a couple X-tools. The track it railroads you towards doesn't even have a jump or ramp or anything, so why does it loop back on itself? Even for track made for spacecraft, it just doesn't strike me as efficient. It wouldn't be the only level to have these quirks. Near the volcano on Tiki Jungle, there's a circle of Tikis just sitting off the beaten path. Why? Okay, that was kind of funny. What's inside these crates that's making that sound? Though you have to appreciate the charm of these huts, this idol, and the airport being included. Hell, you can even find the planes flying around the map as you drive. They follow the same loop back to the airport, much like the spaceships in Moonbase go in and out of the hub in a glorified loop. But it's kind of a neat little detail. The general atmosphere has the right vibe for being on a lonely, sparsely populated jungle island. Urban Wasteland has the Podunk Cemetery, whose name I didn't even notice until I started recording for this video. Not to mention the train, a rustic shack, and an alternate ramp to make this place feel lived in, so to speak. Then you start to wonder things like, what exactly are they mining on Pluto? What is this stuff? What are they building at the construction site? What is this tower with the two striped chimneys, and what's it for? What kind of random OSHA-violating crap is this? Jesus, that's not safe! Beachway has a basketball court, parking lots, a comically oversized boat, and Moonbase has all kinds of crap going on, like spaceships going in and out of the hub, and a whole bunch of gadgets and gizmos. Some of them kill you. These are things you would never normally think about, but at least someone was, because it makes these levels feel that much more organic. But the thing I care most about is, are they fun to drive? And I'd say for the most part, yeah. Again, it's nothing groundbreaking, but I wish there were more of these. Longer courses and more of them. Especially stuff like Moonbase where you can fly and glide around, and really take advantage of your car's wings if you install them. And you should install them. This is what the game should have been about. And the grand finale, Asteroid Belt, seems to agree. It's the longest track of them all, requires 10 laps to beat, and to get the final 400 horsepower car, you need to collect 100 X-tools and finish in first place. It's also exactly as dangerous as it looks, because it's very easy to fall off the track and into space. Normally when your car gets knocked out, all your engine buffs from going through the checkpoints are nullified, and you go back to base level power. But mercifully, that doesn't happen here. And go figure, the Shadowjet, that yellow car, is the only 300 horsepower car besides mine, so it's the only one that's gonna put up any kind of fight. But there are so many shortcuts you can take on this track. Low gravity is only going to amplify the potential here. In so many ways, Nitronic Rush and Distance feel like the spiritual successor to this game, at least mechanically speaking. Then again, maybe it's a sign that someone made a Hot Wheels Highway 35 World Race mod for Distance. Unfortunately, the controls and reflexes you're expected to have in Distance are a little too unforgiving for my liking. If there were ever a game begging for a modern remake, with improvements and expansion, this would be it. But given the industry's track record on remakes these days, if they ever did decide to remake this, I'm not holding my breath it would be any good. But I'll take what I can get. And what I've got is a copy of this game that works on my computer. No virtual machine required. Which means I can finally share it with you fine folks. and I have Splatter to thank for that. With all the work he's done getting Hot Wheels Mechanix working on my computer, and recomposing some of the music, because he also did a remix of the Pluto Mines theme and I snuck that in during that section, this video is as much his doing as it is mine. So if you're watching this, Splatter, thanks man. This video wouldn't have happened without you. Your help is most appreciated. And if no one else watching this video cares, just know that I do. Given what an obscure game this is, I'm not really holding out any hope for anyone to come out and make a remake of this whole thing, because that would be a serious undertaking. No doubt the kind of thing an aspiring indie dev somewhere might take a crack at. I am not an aspiring indie dev. My game, A Waddle on the Wild Side, with Fabio the Penguin, is just a passion project I'm doing on the side. And even then I've got someone else doing the art, someone else doing the sound effects, while I do all the designing and programming. Remaking Hot Wheels Mechanix is well beyond my capacity. But maybe someone, someday, will try to take a crack at it. But probably not. Maybe it's just as well. Until then, distance is the next best thing. But only if you're hardcore enough for it. Did I seriously get killed by a space shuttle above me that I didn't even touch? By the time I was ready to finish my final lap on the final course, I managed to lap the guy in second place. Yeah, just in case you had any doubts as to how easy this game is. Victory is mine. And the Lakester, the most overpowered car in the game, is also mine. The only thing left to do would be to go back and unlock the alternate liveries for the other cars. But there's only a total of 3 paint jobs per car, which is a little disappointing. They're all based on real liveries though, and I did actually recognize a couple of them, including the alien detector livery for the Radar Ranger, which is what I just won this race with. If there's enough interest in the future, like I said, maybe I'll make a follow-up video or two, where I play through the whole game, maybe challenging myself by using only 100 horsepower cars, if you can call it a challenge. I might even share the patched executable file so that anyone interested in playing themselves can give it a try. But you're gonna need the rest of the files, so, I don't know, download it from some abandonware site or something. Worst case, Splatter or I can provide the download link ourselves. And if you're interested in how powerful the Lakester is, well, let's just say, if you can't win a race with this car, you only have yourself to blame. That's it. Happy birthday, me. How the hell am I 30 years old now? Well, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to go have an existential crisis. See you next time.